Good morning children. Hope you are doing well. Now we are discussing about the chapter force and pressure. Force and pressure. In the first class we discussed about what is force. What is force? How can we define force? Force is just a push or a pull. What is force? Force is just a push or a pull. Force is a push or a pull that is acted on an object. Isn't it? Hope you studied. We discussed many examples for force. Isn't it? In the second class, we deal with the effects of force, that is, what happens when a force is applied on an object. What happens? First one, the force can change the state of motion. The force can change the state of motion. That is, an object at rest can move and an object in motion can change to rest. That we discussed in many examples relating it. Hope you remember that. And the second one is the force can change the direction of motion. The force can change the direction of motion. That is, when a batsman hitting the ball, the direction of ball changes. And the third one is the force can change the speed of an object. That is, the force can increase the speed of the object. Also, the force can decrease the speed of the object. The force can increase or decrease the speed of object. Hope you remember the examples. These are all we discussed in the previous class and hope you read and learn it. In the previous class, we discussed the three effects of object when a force is applied on it. Then there is the fourth one and the last one is the force can change the shape of an object. The first one is the force can change the state of motion. The second one is the force can change the direction of motion. The third one is the force can change the speed of motion. And the fourth one is the force can change the shape of an object. Can you give an example for that? Suppose you have an inflated balloon and you are applying a force on the balloon by pressing it between your palms. What will happen? Is it change the shape of balloon? Yes, there is. It changes the shape of balloon. When you press a balloon between your palms, the shape of the balloon changes. That is, pressing the balloon means applying a force on the balloon. So we can say that a force can change the shape of an object. Clear? Then you have to do the activity 11.5 in the textbook, page number 133. All the actions we discussed, that is pushing the car, catching the ball, pressing the balloon, hitting the ball, moving the rubber tire, all these actions are happened due to the action of force. Isn't it? When the force is not acts in these situations, these actions will not happen. Am I correct? So we can understand, if there is no force, any actions cannot happen. Or we can say that none of these actions takes place without the action of force. If there is no action of force, an object cannot move. That is, when a man do not pushes the car will not move. If the man pushes the car, then only the car will move. That is, the car cannot move by itself. Without the action of force, the car cannot move by itself. So we can understand that an object cannot move by itself, an object cannot change its speed by itself, an object cannot change its direction by itself, and an object cannot change its shape by itself. Thus, it is important to remember that none of these actions will takes place without the action of force. None of these actions will takes place without the action of force. Hope you clear it. Then we move on to the next topic, that is the types of forces. There are mainly two types of forces. What are the two types of forces? Do you know? That is the contact forces and non-contact forces. What do you mean by contact forces and non-contact forces? Is there any difference between them? We already studied that the force come into play when two or more objects interact with each other. When a force come into play when two or more objects interact with each other. That is, a boy pushing the car, there is an interaction between the boy and the car. One object interact with another object results to the force. A batsman hitting the ball. Which of them will interact? The batsman and the ball. So we can understand that two bodies interact with each other results in force. Hope you understand the concept. When two objects interact results in the force. The interaction between the two objects are of two types. That is, one in which the bodies in contact with each other and the other in which they are not in contact with each other. Then how can we say what is contact force and what is non-contact force? What is contact force? The force results when the bodies in contact with each other are called contact force. Hope you clear? Then what is non-contact force? It is opposite to the contact forces. What is non-contact forces? The force results when the bodies not in contact with each other. Not in contact with each other are called non-contact forces. It is little difficult to think of non-contact forces. In the previous class, we have discussed many examples such as boy throwing the ball, man pulling the cart, goalkeeper catches the ball, pressing the balloon in the hand. These are all contact forces. We will discuss the non-contact forces later. First, we will discuss about contact forces. We already said the contact forces are the forces results when the bodies in contact with each other. What is contact force? The force results in when the bodies are in contact with each other. Suppose you are pushing the car. In order to push the car, you have to apply a force on the car. Is it clear for you? You have to apply a force on the car. How will you apply this force? You are touching the car with your hand and pushing it. That is, your hand is in contact with the car. So the force applying on the car is a contact force. So the force applying on the car is a contact force. While throwing a ball, our hand is in contact with the ball. So it is also a contact force. While hitting the ball with a cricket bat, the cricket bat is in contact with the ball. The cricket bat is in contact with the ball. So it is a contact force. These are all contact force. Hope you understand the concept of contact force. Then what are the types of contact forces? What are the types of contact forces? Do you know? Muscular force. Muscular force is a contact force. Suppose when we push a table, we apply a force on the table. Where does this force comes from? Can you guess? When you lift a bucket of water, there needs a force. Where does this force comes from? That is, we are applying this force by our strength of our body. Where does this strength come from? Can you guess? That is from our muscles. When you lift the bucket or pushes the table, the force comes from our muscles. Or we can say that the force is caused by the action of muscles in our body. And that force is called muscular force. How can we define the muscular force? How can you say? The forces resulting due to the action of muscles. The forces resulting due to the action of muscles is known as muscular force. In muscular force, there is action of muscles. Hope you clear? When our body is in contact with other objects, there occurs muscular force. That is, when you lift the bucket, you will touch the bucket and there acts muscular forces. Okay, clear? So, muscular force is a contact force. Not only human beings, animals also have muscles, isn't it? Animals also uses muscular forces. Animals also uses muscular forces to carry out their physical activities. Let's see an example. A bullock cart is used to carry load from one place to another place. You can see a bullock. A bullock is tied with the cart. The load is then put in the cart and the bullock then applies the force, that is the muscular force on the cart, and the cart starts to move. That is, the bullock pulls the cart using their muscular force. Man uses animals like bullock, horses, donkeys and camels to carry out various tasks. That may be carrying loads to travel. Okay? Clear? So, muscular force is a contact force. What is muscular force? The force resulting due to the action of muscles is called muscular force. Muscular force is the action of muscles. The human beings and animals have muscular force. Since muscular force can be applied only when it is in contact with an object, it is called contact forces. Hope you understand the muscular force. Are there any other contact forces other than muscular force? Yes, there are. We will discuss it in the next video. Hope you understand all these things, that is contact and non-contact forces and the muscular force. The muscular force is a contact force. We will continue in the next class. Thank you.